look, I've received some information in the last couple of hours that there are some more leaked text messages to come out from Anthony Bryne, who's at the centre of this sting, I guess, on Adem Somyurek, which has seen him expelled from the party. They were close mates, they texted a lot. If what I'm told is correct, these would have real implications for Anthony Bryne's place on the Intelligence and Security Committee, which is a subject of some debate. What I've heard, Kieran, is that amongst the exchanges, he disparages Kevin Rudd, who was on his side, I guess, or against Somyurek in the 60 Minutes report, and that he disparages Kristina Keneally, the opposition's Home Affairs spokeswoman. That would be a challenge for Anthony Albanese if it's true. And he also is said to go into the conduct of that Intelligence and Security Committee in text messages. Let's see if those messages see the light of day. But there is a long way to go, and I guess we've seen even today that Adem Somyurek returned serve at Anthony Bryne over the text. But the issue dominating here has been Byrne's deputy chairmanship of the Intelligence and Security Committee after Channel 9 ran the covert footage inside his electorate office. Kieran, I've gone to Channel 9 formally, and they are not commenting on whether they, Bryne, his staffer, or a law enforcement body like IBAC is responsible for the footage that they ran. But their lawyers cleared what they ran as legal, and as I understand, have instructed their staff not to comment on who took the footage. It can only have happened, it seems, with Byrne's cooperation, surely. The PM's raised the stakes today, saying in the first instance, they're his words, it is up to Anthony Albanese whether Bryne remains on that committee.
I would take a recommendation from the Leader of the Opposition as to who he believes should be serving on that committee in the first instance, and I would wait to see what his recommendation would be. That's the fair and appropriate thing to do. There are weighty things that are considered by members of parliament, and the national security agenda of the country is one, and where you're raising questions about a member who, by his own admission, is saying that the events that are being inquired into is a corruption investigation, and whether and you're asking whether they should serve on a committee of that seriousness. So there is very serious implications. I am disappointed that the Labor Party is focused on themselves.
Now, my information this afternoon is Albanese is intending to back Anthony Bryne and keep him as deputy chair of the committee. His argument is the chair of the committee, Andrew HASTIE, a Liberal, endorsed Mr Bryne in an interview on Afternoon Agenda yesterday.
I've read the news, I've watched the program, I've heard the gossip around Parliament. All I can say is that I know Anthony as a man and as a deputy chair. As a man, I count him as a friend. He's a great patriot, he loves his country, and as deputy chair, he's been very, very helpful in acting in the national interest, always seeking a bipartisan agreement on the legislation that we've debated. And so I can speak to his character, but as for this, you know, who knows how this unfolds? That's a matter for the Labor Party.
For Albanese's part, he actually believes the PM decides who is on that committee, not him. It looks like a bit of a wedge tactic there, but we'll see if the PM wants to act if Anthony Albanese does not suggest another member. Meanwhile, look, they say Kieran never asked the right what the left's doing, but Liberal Senator Sarah Henderson, who knows people in Victorian Labor, accused Richard Marles, the Deputy Labor leader under parliamentary privilege in the Senate yesterday, of benefiting out of the scandal. Certainly senior Labor people have told me Marles benefits politically from Somyurek and Bill Shorten's power being neutered in the federal takeover, but the Marles had absolutely no involvement in this.
If Mr Bryne has any knowledge of these activities, it appears that his role as Deputy Chair of the Parliament's Intelligence and Security Committee is untenable. But there are other federal MPs who have said very little, including the member for Corio, Richard Marles, and Senator Carr, who are closely aligned with Mr Bryne in Victoria. And it is indeed the case that the most prominent beneficiary of this week's fiasco is Mr Marles, and I ask, is that a coincidence?